Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, comparing the Land Rover Defender to the fake Defender. Just kidding. The new Ineos Grenadier. We'll talk about that joke a little bit more later. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Defender. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, need any help, just ask for Nick. I'll also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get right into it. Under the hood of the Defender is a turbo 3-liter inline 6 that goes to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 395 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Now, powering the Grenadier is also a turbocharged 3-liter inline 6 that goes to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 282 horsepower and then 331 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the Defender, this is Land Rover's new take on the Defender. It's now unibody, independent front suspension, independent rear suspension, air suspension at that, but it still has some classic details. So you can see this one still has the checker plates there on the hood. That's really cool. You got the 110 decal. This one has a snorkel, or rather a raised air intake, I should say, from the factory. Still have these circular headlights here. You got fog lights down below. So yeah, basically it looks like a modern Defender, and that's because it is a modern Defender. Now the Grenadier, on the other hand, is a new vehicle from a new company, but it looks suspiciously similar to the old school Defender. You can see you've got checker plates here on the hood, got the circular headlights, got this crazy aggressive off-road bumper, you got a winch from the factory, raised air intake with this as well. And so you can see so far some similarities, but something to note: body and frame, solid axles front and rear. Now when it comes to tire and wheel setup, with the Defender 255 60 20, and then with the Grenadier 265 70 17, and actually have steel wheels with the Grenadier. You can get those with the Defender as well. This one just has the fancier wheels. Now the smallest wheel you can fit on a Defender with the inline 6 is a 19-inch wheel, unless you do some aftermarket stuff with a caliper conversion. Now notice we got this fancy painted fender flare, and then with the Grenadier you just kind of have this rugged unpainted one, and then we have square mirrors with both of them. This is cool with the Defender. It's kind of like venting piece. Notice with the Grenadier we've got the rock rail protection there on the side. You can see a two-tone with the Defender there. Oh, and something to notice, the Defender has this cool lockable storage there, and then we've got a roof rack on this particular one as well. But anywho, here's the side view with the Defender, and then here's your side profile with the Grenadier. Now the Grenadier has this interesting split gate with the swing gate here in the back. It's two different ones, and plenty of storage here in the back. And notice with the material use, it's meant to be easy to clean with the interior. And you'll notice that's a big theme of the Grenadier. It's all about utility. And this is pretty fun to close. Got the one, and then it has very sturdy kind of like second close there. You can see the circular taillight. You got lockable storage there in the tire carrier. And you got the spare tire on the back in normal off-roader fashion. And this leads us over to the Defender. So we've got a traditional swing gate. Pretty cool setup. Plenty of storage space here in the rear. Now Land Rover did a similar thing where you notice with the material use, easier to clean, more durable. Same thing here on the bottom. Now this has air suspension, so you got those buttons to raise and lower the suspension. That's kind of another cool feature. But yeah, definitely a practical storage space. And then we've got the spare tire here on the back. You got the cool kind of square tail lights. There are recovery points in the back as well. But yeah, definitely a new school versus old school in terms of the design. Now in the back of the Grenadier, you guys can see legroom's solid. We've got some vents here in the back. Got all your charging ports and everything. Got these nice leather seats, Recaro seats, for those of you that are wondering. You can look at the door panel, very utilitarian looking. And then we got plenty of headroom with that boxy design. Now you sit a little bit lower in the Defender, but still great legroom and all of that. You can see the climate controls and vents here in the back. And then I love the door panel on the Defender with the exposed rivets. Got like wood there on the handle. And then really nice seats. And then we've got the cool Alpine windows there. I think that more cars should have that feature. It's such a cool thing. Well, popping to the Ineos, you do have to stick the key in the ignition, which is kind of funny. We got this nice leather steering wheel. It's really cool with the trim. Of course, got the little toot function there with the horn. But yeah, very, very analog car. And you can see again with the door panel, pretty basic with the material use. Solid closing sound, again with those square mirrors, pretty cool. Everything is in this gauge cluster. Just a simple backup camera, by the way. But yeah, you've got, you know, speedometer, all of that kind of stuff here in the center, and the infotainment system's right next to it. Cool little compass feature there. Shows you the elevation as well, 4,200 feet. And then a bunch of physical controls down below. So for like the heated seats, for example, you can see for some of the climate controls too. I think it's really cool. And we've got the BMW shifter, of course, and then more of that nice leather trim. 2-speed transfer case with a center locking diff. Again, pretty old school setup. And then I love the center console on this. It has such a sturdy feel to it. And then you guys can see just a traditional mirror. And then also, again, nice trim on the dash, I will say that. And again, the grab handle right there. And then we've got these cool Safari windows with this, so that adds some flair to it. Tons of auxiliary switches up top in airplane fashion. And then this does have front and rear locking differentials. So again, it's old school, solid axles, body on frame, locking diffs. It does have traction control, but it's not nearly as advanced as the Defenders. I will say push button start, it's kind of a nice luxury. See, full digital gauge cluster there. It's a pretty cool feature as well. And then with the door, solid closing sound. Got blind spot ring with the mirrors. And you notice that with this car, like nice leather trim around the steering wheel. You even got stitching around the airbag cover there. And then we got this super fancy 360 camera system that even shows underneath the vehicle. So this new Defender is all about modern technology. Big infotainment system, quick response time. And then we do have air suspension to raise and lower the vehicle. And then look at these climate controls. That's for like the seat, for example, to turn that on. You also have a bunch of different off-road drive modes. You got a lower range. Like I said, super advanced traction control system. This has a center and rear locking differential. And then you can see with the like wood trim here. And then it's probably has, yeah, it's got the cool box. Pretty cool feature there. And again, I like the seats in the Defender here. And then look at this. This is pretty cool with that little area. And then again, camera, rear view mirror. Got the controls here for the panoramic sunroof, so a lot fancier. Now when it comes to pricing, this Defender has equipped stickers for about $110,000. It is an X, so it's a loaded up one. And then that Grenadier with all the off-road options that it has, you're gonna be about $95,000. So there's about a $15,000 price difference between them. But with that being said, let's see how they both drive. Let's set off in the new Defender, and then we'll drive the Ineos second. And I feel like these are going to have two completely different driving experiences. Now I tried to pick a Defender that had all the off-road stuff on it, just to make it so that it was kind of like off-road package versus off-road package. So it drives like a Range Rover. You know, again, it's independent suspension, unibody. So when you just going down the road, it's very smooth. When you go over bigger bumps, you feel it more in a unibody vehicle. Right? There's not the, you don't get the isolation that you get in body and frame. But I mean, it's still really nice. I mean, seats are very comfortable. And this interior is really cool. I think that Land Rover knocked it out of the park with how they've designed this interior to just look pretty, but then also have this like rugged functional appearance. And this is like one of the few tablet-like infotainment systems that's kind of plopped in there that doesn't bother me for some reason. I don't know. It just works. Now this inline six, it's a great engine. Super smooth. It's got great power as well. It moves the Defender, no problem, no struggle at all. Yeah, and turn-in's great with the unibody. You do feel the weight, it's a heavy vehicle. Yeah, great torque from the engine. It's a really cool driving experience. And get a little acceleration here. It's so cool to hear the raised air intake. You can get a little bit of turbo noise from it. Pretty fun. It's a pretty fun system. When I say turbo noise, like it sounds like a... Anyways, all in all, this is the modern Defender, right? Land Rover took the Defender that was a utility off-road vehicle, and this is what I would say is still a utility off-road vehicle, right? You watch the videos of these things, they're crazy off-road, but now it's also a luxury car with this interior, with the ride quality being unibody, independent suspension, air suspension, just how it drives. It's a luxury car, and so they've added kind of like a layer of utility. Now, have they conceded some stuff? Well, let's go pop into the Ineos, which is very similar to an old school Defender, and talk about that. Well, setting off, oops, sorry, let me fix this. But yeah, setting off in the Grenadier, completely different feel. Again, still boxy SUV, but a few things. So these Safari windows do kind of change the interior ambiance a little bit. But again, you've got the Alpine windows there in the Defender, which kind of adds some fun flair. Steering, huge difference. Like, you notice it instantly. This has super vague steering, whereas the Defender, right, super direct. So that's different. And then the Defender, again, like all unibody vehicles, when you go over bumps, it's not bad, but it's a little bit crashy, whereas this is, it's got just a solid feel over the bumps. So that's a bit of a difference as well. Seats, not as comfortable as Land Rovers. And this interior, again, it's super, like, well built. That's how it feels, but it's just not as luxury as the Defender. And I think the airplane theme part of it, this like whole center part's really cool. Then the Defender, how it's, both of them are cool interiors, just in different ways. So I think they did a good job on both of the cars. And then, you know, so far with the engine, this is the weird part. This has way less power. Doesn't feel like it. Like it feels maybe a little bit slower, but it's not as big of a difference as you might think, given the difference in power. Man, we are unlucky. They're gonna run straight through the red light. Look at that. Ran a red light. Good job, minivan. But yeah, there's just not as big of a difference as you might think. So I know it's a short drive with the Ineos, but there's lots of traffic, lots of lights, so it's not gonna be too exciting for you guys. But my thoughts to sum up this comparison is, this is like utility and off-road, not a luxury car. I would never call this a luxury car. I mean, it's got leather seats and stuff, but yeah, it's just it's more focused. So if you're wanting basically the off-road look, but you don't want to concede luxury car stuff, the Defender does that, and it still is an off-roader. This is if you want off-road stuff and you don't want to concede anything with off-roading, like, and you want the old school off-roading, right? You want selectable lockers, you want solid axles, so it's just a different type of off-roading, rather than having a super advanced traction control system that the Defender has. So let me know if you like the Grenadier more or the Defender, but interesting to see them side by side. And yeah, just so different with how they drive. Like, this is old school, the Defender is definitely new school with how it drives.